All right. I am the social ninjas for the beginning. Kyle is going to be joining me later. Um, I have a special guest. It's Jay Feldman. What's going on, Jay Feldman?
Jeremy, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm actually recording this episode from Mexico. Currently escaped the COVID crisis in America, so enjoying my time. But yeah, I'm appreciative to be here. And for those of you who don't know me, I was originally trained as a medical doctor, now doing business full time, and super passionate about entrepreneurship, super passionate about business, personal development. So all of the things that you stand for and teach on your show, I would love to talk about, and I'm super excited to be here. So thank you.
You already got my next question. I was going to say, for those of you people who don't know who you are, who are you? You're just like, I got this. You don't have to ask the question.
Appreciate that. I've done a couple of these by now.
Okay. So how did you, what kind of doctor did you become, and how did you make that transition to entrepreneurship, and how's that been?
Sure. This is a super common question that I get, and this is something that not a lot of doctors do. I loved medicine my whole entire life. I was always awesome at it. And, I went to medical school in New York City, learned, loved, I was great at my job, but the healthcare system, as you probably well know, is horribly broken. So within my first kind of exposure to the healthcare system, I could tell it wasn't a great fit. I started residency training as a family medicine doctor and was really just miserable the whole time. I was trying to build my outside businesses, juggle a million things at once, and struggle with the fact that I couldn't practice the medicine that I wanted to practice. And it was just not a good environment for me. So eventually pulled the trigger, left, and I've been doing business now for about 8 months full time, and I've never been happier. I've never been more successful. And so I do not have a board certification in any field of medicine. I do entrepreneurship full time, and I do plan on keeping it that way.
Beautiful. So 8 months of entrepreneurship. What kind of business ventures and things have you done to keep yourself going mentally?
Sure. So 8 months full time as an entrepreneur. It's been about 5 years actually since I started my journey into entrepreneurship. My first business was a tutoring company during my gap year before medical school. And that was kind of my toe in the water, my foot in the door to the whole business world. That's where I fell in love. And then after that, I think there's been 6 or 7 businesses that I've started. Most have been failures, as most are during that first few years. I started a nutritional supplement company that is still going on to this day, still relatively successful. I started a social media marketing agency once I got really good at marketing. That's how I grew my own and my friends' Instagram and social media accounts, and really built the foundation for the future businesses, which is my marketing background. Since then, I've started a portable home gym company, a fitness company. We actually launched in about 2 weeks, so super excited about that. And the biggest and best company that I've got going on right now is Otter PR, which is a full service PR agency. We've been in business for about 8 months. We're a team of 30. We've got almost 100 customers who are mostly thought leaders. We also work with a lot of small businesses, and our job is to get them mainstream media coverage. And that's just been an awesome ride. I've been, building my own personal brand as a thought leader, doing this for my friends. And it's just really special being able to do this for other people who are authors, speakers, coaches, who really want to break into the mainstream media, build credibility and authority, and get their name out there. So that's been a wild ride. It's been incredibly successful. And that's going to be probably my main business for the rest of my life.
Wow, not to give too much of your secrets away, what is first off, what is a thought leader in your opinion? And then how does someone get themselves out there?
Sure. So, thought leader is kind of a broad term that just popped into my world in the last 2 years. In my opinion, a thought leader is anybody who puts themselves out there in the media, whether that be social media, interviews, and has an opinion or has something that they want to share with their community, whatever that community is. So there's thought leaders in health, there's thought leaders in fitness, there's thought leaders in politics. There's a ton of different categories where a thought leader can fall. But the ideal client we want to work with is somebody who's already somewhat established, someone who's written a book, someone who is doing speaking engagements. actively has a podcast, actively has a blog, who's actively taking on clients for their coaching business, whatever it might be. But thought leader is a super umbrella term that I think covers a lot of space. But really, it's anybody can be a thought leader. It doesn't take any training. It doesn't take any degrees or certifications. And, in 2020 and this millennia, this digital social age, it's one of the, I think, biggest opportunities for people to get their foot in the door and make a career out of just social media and putting yourself out there in general. Sorry, that was
Cool.
a long answer.
No, I
Your
like it.
second question,
It's like-
your second, your second question was how does one get into the media, break into the mainstream media, and actually build that credibility and authority? And that's a tough one, because if you're starting from scratch, starting from zero, and you're like, I want to be a thought leader, but why do people want to buy into me? What credibility do I have? Why will they believe me? That's a tough place to start. And a lot of that comes from, especially as a coach, I tell a lot of my aspiring coaches to give your services away for free for the first 6 months or at massively discounted rates. Build up some credibility, build up some testimonials. You can join the PR agency if you'd like, or do your PR on your own to get some third-party validation from media outlets, from podcasts, from radio, from TV. That's a really great way to break into the mainstream media. PR agency is obviously only one way to go. There's, PR is a massive world. I could go on for hours about how to get media coverage, but talking to me is a good start.
Awesome. And I'm just going to jump right in and ask this question. Have you had any social or mental health challenges in the past? And how did you get over it, if you have?
Sure. So to be quite honest, I have not myself, but I grew up in a home where my mom suffers from major depression, and that's one of the reasons that actually drove me into medicine. Several of my siblings do as well. So although I haven't battled anything personally, I've been in a home and I've dealt with people, and I've dealt with patients and family members who have been through all of these things. And, I've worked with doctors who think it's not a real disease, who think it's all in the head, who think throw some medication at it, it'll make everything better. So I have tons of experience with this, although not dealing with it myself. But if there's any questions, or, we want to go down this route, I can absolutely talk about it from a very experienced and educated point of view.
Oh, right. Like what comes to mind is, even if you haven't gone through it, like your piece of having people around you that have had that have gone through a challenging time mentally. Like, my question would be like, what kind of advice, or not advice, but support for people who have people around them going through some mental health issues?
Yeah, and for people living with mental health issues, I think it's one of the best times in history, because it's become, especially in the last decade, so much more mainstream, acceptable, and not stigmatized. We're realizing that so many people suffer from this. It's not a rare condition. It's something that a lot of our community deals with and can now openly talk about. So I think there's more help available, and I think there's becoming more and more ways to deal with this. I don't know if you're too familiar with like the medical aspect of it and new pharmaceutical methods and things that they're doing to experiment with PTSD and major depression with things like MDMA and psilocybin. That's super exciting,
Mm.
but that's a whole nother tangent. My advice for people who are dealing with some of this themselves is that you live in a time where it is mainstream acceptable to admit that you are dealing with mental health and illness, and to reach out for help. So I don't think you should feel any shame about it, and even telling your family about it and telling your friends about it. People are aware that this is on the radar and that this is dangerous. People are committing suicide. People are making a lot of bad decisions, getting into drugs. And I guarantee that your friends and family will not, turn a blind eye. Everybody knows this is serious, and everybody knows that, this is acceptable now. You can ask for help, and there's medical help, there's social help, and there's a lot of different things that you can do to not have to live in fear or battling this mental illness. There's a lot that you can do.
Beautiful. I love a lot of what you said about, like, it's normal, and normalizing it. I think it's going to be in my opinion, something that's going to help it out substantially. I think, like, especially now in the COVID times, I think there's a report showed that suicides have gone up 50%, which is a very intimidating number. And I like what you said about it's normalizing it. It's like it's okay. It's okay if if you're in a bad mood, and not just to push it away and like and pray that it goes away. And like I like that a lot. So like going forward, where do you see the mental health industry going?
So in my like exciting, this is my exciting doctor brain that's going to ramble for a little bit, but I'm super passionate about the medical advances that we're making in it. A lot of people who suffer from some of these diseases and some don't have dealt with some sort of trauma in their childhood or some kind of upbringing or something that might might have flipped a switch at some point that turned on a mental illness. There's a lot of research going on right now with MDMA, psilocybin, LSD, that they're actually reversing all of those traumas and creating counter traumas and, flipping PTSD, uh, really helping with major depression. Inhaled ketamine is another one. So the pharmaceutical world, in terms of doctors and politicians' open-mindedness to the availability of treatments and what these things do for our patients, that's the most exciting for me. But the other thing that is super exciting is, and I don't want to say exciting because none of this is exciting, dealing with any of this is awful, but the fact that it is so widely acceptable and that treatment centers and treatment options are springing up all over the place. They're becoming not only more widely available, but free. I know at my clinic where I used to work, we used to offer free mental health counseling, and I think that is just huge. I think so many people are going to
Wow.
benefit from it. Yeah, it was amazing.
So if someone's looking for some free help, how could they go about doing that?
I don't want to say my institution's name or anything like that, but if you Google free mental health counseling, I promise you, in your region, unless you're in the middle of nowhere, I believe that you'll have options. And if you have insurance, I almost guarantee it.
Wow, that's so cool. Um, cool. So like when you do your marketing and everything, do you work with like mental health like speakers or
Yeah. So one of my case study clients who I absolutely love, she's one of my good friends. Her name's Asha Terry. She's a 15-year mental health professional. I believe she was a counselor, and now she's a thought leader in the space. We have her on TV about every single week right now. And I think, like you mentioned, COVID is going to do very scary things for mental health. I don't even think we're seeing the tip of the iceberg right now. I think there's a lot more
the
that we're
first?
going to learn and will be exposed. Yeah. So I think mental health professionals right now, as thought leaders, are going to be in massive demand. And she's proven that. I mean, she's in the Fox, CBS, like every single week, doing interviews and talking about these new demands and what is going to happen. So yeah, that's just an example of a thought leader in mental health that we work with, but definitely ones that we need because granted, I'm not following too many thought leaders in mental health, but I guarantee a lot of people that need that help are. So we need more of those people out there spreading good messages, talking to people who need the help. I know for a fact that she gets like 100 DMs a day asking for help, reaching out. And granted, she probably can't counsel all of them, but she points them all in the right direction. And I had this conversation with her, and it's super helpful. And if any of you want to Google her, her name's Asha Terry, ASHATARRY. Super inspiring woman. It's a pleasure to work with her. But your answer to your question is yes, love working with mental health thought leaders.
Cool. I'm curious, like, where you think businesses are headed towards during these times, and what is it like in the mind of an entrepreneur, like going through all those fails, as you said?
Yeah, obviously it's a scary time out there for a lot of business owners, especially anyone who owns a brick and mortar business that counts on people on foot coming into their establishment and being near other people. I think, obviously, I don't have to tell you we're seeing a massive shift to online business. Even businesses that were traditionally in offices are now not, and I don't see them returning anytime soon. We'll see what happens with the vaccine situation, but I think a lot of people really like this new situation, working from home, virtual. I think it's a time saver. I personally love it. When I train my new team members for my business, we bring them into our home office for 1 week for training. We take every precaution in the world. We train them on site. We teach them how to be remote, and then we let them off into the wild. And I think that's a structure that a lot of businesses are going to start to adopt, if not already. But online business is going to be the future. We're in Mexico now where they don't have any online business, and every business here has been suffering because they're open back up and nobody's here. And that's going to be, I think, the case for a lot of business owners in the near future. But with that being said, there's tons of opportunity. I think people are looking over all of the things that are still happening. Obviously, the economy is still doing well. The market is up. People have money. People are buying. So for those of you who are maybe thinking about starting your first online business, there's absolutely no reason to wait. There's plenty. Yeah. We'll
Yes,
talk about this
actually.
after. I'm happy
Yeah.
to.
Yes,
I'm happy
please.
to. But yeah, there's so many people out there now who are putting it off because now's not the right time. No one's buying anything. I'm going to wait until the economy's back up. People have jobs again. I think now's a better time than ever. I think doing what I did over the past 6 months, just nose to the grind, working on scaling this business from home has been one of the best and most rewarding things I've ever done. And I thank COVID for that. It's been a horrible thing, but there's a silver lining there, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to mention, and there's sometimes I'll ask people this question, and that is like, if you had 1 year to live, what would you do? And I think 90 something percent of people say travel. And I'm not saying travel is like a big thing now, but if you're able to work online and have a business online, then you can travel and make money at the same time. Isn't that like kind of the dream almost?
So we call it the new rich. I mean, our parents and their grandparents, their values were buy a big house, buy some fancy things, buy a nice car, and get a beautiful lawn and mow it. Our generation is completely different. For me, my idea of being rich is freedom over my time. That comes first, and then enough money to do whatever I want. And that doesn't need to be millions of dollars. Tony Robbins wrote an awesome book about finances. And one of the takeaways was figure out how much money you actually need to live the lifestyle that you want to live. Add a couple of things in there. And mine came out to like $160,000 a year, which, I've been making for a while now. And it's not even about that for me. It's about the freedom over my time and the journey. So totally agree with you on, our generation's a lot different. Our values are different. And we've just been joined. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Special guest, Kyle.
Special guest appearance. I love it.
You want me to introduce myself or?
Hi, Kyle. I'm Jay.
Nice to meet you, Jay. This is a first time for the Social Ninjas for sure.
We're actually, this is kind of awkward. Jay and I were talking about online business I'm starting. So I'm kidding. Yeah. Anyways,
and the pause.
It's interesting. It's a perfect example, like the unexpected, right? COVID was unexpected. Things in life come about and they're unexpected, and it's like, do you freak out about it? Like, I love it. It's like real time experience. Like, do I freak out? Oh my God, I don't know what to say. Kyle, we've never actually had it where Kyle comes in the middle of a podcast before, or do you just like run with it and have fun with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I say we throw a wrench in this whole thing right now. Kyle, you ask a question. Boom, from the top.
I was wondering how this was going to play out, me coming in the middle. I have no idea what Jeremy said. So I know you run a podcast with the Mentors Collective. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure thing. And we have not talked about that yet, Kyle. So awesome question. So my Mentors Collective actually started like 2 years ago, and I started it to talk to health leaders about medicine. Did about 3 episodes and hung up my hat. Picked it up again about 4 months ago to talk about entrepreneurship and business, which is honestly my true fire and passion and stuff that I really want to be talking about. So I did it kind of, I'm huge on mentorship. I have my core 5 like business mentors that I'm always upgrading based on kind of where I am in the stage of business and life. So I always used to just call them and with a ton of questions, and they would just give me gold. And I'd be like, this needs to be recorded for other people, because not everyone has that network where they can just pick up the phone and call, or that drive to pick up the phone and call. So that was kind of my vision for this whole thing going in. Like, I'm going to record the calls that I would already be having with business leaders that I look up to, and with the questions that I want to ask them, and insight that they're going to give me. And from there, it kind of turned into my own do-it-yourself entrepreneurship, starting from scratch business course with those interviews sprinkled in there. So that's what the Mentors Collective is really all about. I think we're about 20 episodes in right now. It's really only been about 3 months. I do about half solo, just me giving advice on business, marketing strategies, mindset stuff for entrepreneurs. And the other half is interviews with people like yourselves who have already done something really impressive that I want to learn from and I want to take something away from. Try and interview as much of a diverse group of entrepreneurs as possible. And it's really just been a big hit. Honestly, I've learned so much. I've taken away so much from hosting it. I will never stop. It's been so rewarding for me, and my guests have nothing but amazing things to say, my listeners. So that's the Mentors Collective. That's what it's about. Thank you.
Good question, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm good like that.
So I'm curious about mindset. Like, what are some good tips for a positive mindset?
So honestly, and I did a whole episode on this, how entrepreneurship and personal development go hand in hand. And it's really the only kind of career path where you can say that about, where you need to do the other things that successful entrepreneurs are doing to make yourself, because really you're the value add in whatever business that you're starting. The better you function, the better your business is going to function. And just like any machine, you need to keep it finely tuned. So with that, at personal development, there's morning routines, there's meditation, there's nighttime rituals, there's keeping it consistent, there's gratitude, there's positivity, there's all of the things that people have probably heard repetitively. I break down into detail in my episodes. And I've tried some of the stuff that the gurus have preached and tell us to do. And some of it just doesn't work for me at all. Like meditating in the morning. You too? And meanwhile, some of it really sticks, and I've been able to turn them into habits that really transformed my life. So my big thing is you figure out what works for you, train yourself to turn into a habit at any cost, and not everything is going to work for you. But I've tried all of it. I mean, you name one personal development tactic that has been preached by the gurus. I've put it on my calendar for a month. I've tried it through the whole month, and like taking a bath at night is one of Tim Ferriss's. I tried it for a whole month. I hate baths. Every night I was like, God damn it, I've got to go in the bath. Not all of it's going to work for you. And some of the things like meditating at night has been huge for me. And I know you do a lot of stuff on mental health and, combating a lot of things like that. Meditating has been massive, not only for me, but for a lot of people that I counsel and coach. So that's one thing that I'll throw out there that really works for just about everybody that does it consistently. That's one thing that'll work.
Meditation.
Meditation.
Do you have like a specific meditation you do?
So it depends. I've used Calm, I've used Headspace, and I've used Transcendental Meditation, where I sit there silently and that's what you do to it as well. And that's the one I think that I get. Yeah, you've done them all.
I've done them all.
Just like you, I've ran through all of them. At night, I actually like to listen to guided meditations before bed. I usually do about 20 minutes of guided meditation. Yeah. So I found that super helpful for, getting to bed at a reasonable time. And I sleep like a rock. And I wake up super refreshed when I do it. I go into the guided meditation and I don't even remember going to sleep. I just wake up in the morning fully refreshed. In the morning, when I do decide to meditate, which is not every day, I'm not super consistent, but I probably do it about 3 or 4 days a week. That's transcendental. I'll sit on the edge of my bed and I'll tell my Alexa to set a timer for 12 minutes, and I'll sit there silently and I'll try and clear my head, get ready for the day. I found that separate at night using guided and in the morning using transcendental really helps a lot.
Yeah. I noticed it's interesting how I did TM as well. And I noticed that I try to do, sometimes I'll wake up and I'll try to do so much. I'll end up doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's such that power in just silence when you wake up.
It is. And I feel better in my day when I do it, but yeah, so my usual morning routine is I have my Alexa wake me up at like 5:30 a.m. I have pre-workout ready for me next to my bed, which is loaded with caffeine, and I'll chug the pre-workout. And then from then I have like 15 minutes before it kicks in for me to meditate. Sometimes I take it and placebo effect, I'm up and I can't do my meditation. So that's usually like the differentiating factor. But that's like another hack, because going to the gym in the morning, I do it without my phone. I take my Apple Watch and my headphones. I go, it's just a great way for me to start my day. But I've realized that if I didn't have my caffeine sitting me next to my bed, half the time I wasn't able to go. So I hacked myself. Now I have the caffeine sitting next to my bed. As soon as I wake up, alarm goes off, I chug it, try and meditate, and then go to the gym.
It's interesting. Yeah, that's one thing that's been pretty transformational for me is adding working out in the morning for my routine. I used to do it like in the evening, like 5, 6 o'clock. And then when I switched to the morning, like, oh my goodness, I was like, why did I spend like 3 years doing it at night? Like it was just terrible. And doing it in the morning was so much better. And it just kind of goes back to, what you say. I mean, it's kind of different for everybody. I mean, some people like doing it at night. It's way better. I mean, some people can, snort some pre-workout like you do and just get up and go. And of course, I'm joking about the snorting, but, but yeah, that's
I have tried it once in college. I don't recommend it. Sorry.
I said snorting because my brother did that one time. So every time I think about pre-workout, I just think of him snorting some C4. I'm like, you're an animal.
I think anyone who's gone to college in a frat house has snorted some pre-workout at some point. I highly do not recommend it. It was uncomfortable. And
Oh my God.
I think I was a little bit sick afterwards, but yeah, don't do that. From a medical perspective, it's not healthy.
Jeremy, how's your podcast? This is great. We talked about snorting C4 for the whole time.
I also found it
just going
interesting.
back to working out at night. I used to do the exact same thing. I would kind of get done with the day. I would take the pre-workout at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and I would go to the gym for an hour and a half and with my phone and with everything that happened that day. And I was so distracted and I had trouble sleeping at night. And that was like my routine for years. And just switching it to the morning had so many benefits. Not only I was not distracted when I was at the gym, but you're starting your day off with a win, which is huge. Starting your day off with meditating, gym, cold shower, journaling. You're like, all right, hell yeah, I'm off to an awesome start. I'm gonna have an awesome day. And that's just going to the gym in the morning just adds another really, really big win for me.
Well, going to the gym is kind of hard nowadays, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I have to wear a mask at my gym. I'm thankful that it's open, but the mask at the gym is a weird thing, I have to admit.
But there's a positive in wearing a mask at the gym because now you have to work harder to get for the same workout. So you're actually getting more of a workout per time. Boom. Hack.
It's like, you don't pass out.
Yeah, you know when they wear those masks when they go up like the stairs and do their workout, it's actually a workout.
Yeah. So doctors will argue against you and say masks not obstruct oxygen flow. They definitely make me feel like it does, but hey, that's just me.
I was just trying to be positive here, okay?
Yeah.
I am not a doctor, just so you know.
So we were talking about mindsets, how we got onto all of this, and I just kind of find it interesting. It seems like you call it mindset training, and it seems like a lot of entrepreneurs call it that. But I think it's synonymous with with mental health. I mean, I think it is the same thing, and I kind of wonder why is it called, or why do a lot of people call it mindset training or working on your mindset as opposed to mental health? Not that there's really a difference. I'm just curious. It seems like a lot of entrepreneur-focused people use that term.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. And I guess kind of you can compare it to like someone who's already healthy, just living a healthy lifestyle. We don't call it treatment. We call it optimizing health. Like I'm a healthy human being, but I still go above and beyond to go to the gym and eat healthy. And for me, it's not treatment, but for somebody who is obese and maybe and you're prescribing fitness and healthy foods to them, it's treatment. Whereas somebody with mental health issues and they're starting to practice gratitude and meditation, it is a form of treatment. They're trying to, come back from something that's abnormal, whereas someone who is fully healthy already is not. And that's just, I don't have any background studying this. This is not something I've discussed before, but I think maybe that has something to do with it. That's just a fun conversation. I don't think there's a right answer.
Yes, yeah, that was a really good answer though. I like that a lot.
Thank you.
So it
So,
sounds like it's the same kind of, for me personally, I feel like it's just, I think mental health is stigmatized a lot of the time. So people don't want to like, oh, I got to take care of my mental health. And we're like, well, your mental health, something's wrong with you. Same with like, I'm seeing a therapist. Why are you seeing a therapist? Is something wrong with you?
Yeah. Why don't they call it personal development? I don't
Yeah,
know. Maybe
I know,
they should start
seriously.
calling it personal development.
I'm going to my personal development coach. You mean your therapist? No, my personal development coach.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
maybe it would get rid of a lot of the stigma because a lot of it does overlap. I mean, the gratitude that I do in the morning where I write down the things that I'm thankful for, like that's something that's really helpful for somebody with mental health issues. The meditation, huge. That's something that everybody with mental health issues should be doing. So yeah, tons of overlap. Maybe they should start calling it personal development.
It
You heard it here
sounds,
first.
it literally sounds the same. Like from what I'm hearing, it sounds exactly the same, and it's completely marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
It's like I'm a coach or I'm an executive coach. I'm a premium executive super coach. Just like adding on to. Oh, I find it
Yeah.
fascinating.
The more titles, the more money you can charge, right?
Yeah, I'm a.
uh, Curious question for you, because you talk about how you've tried lots of different things, especially for your morning routine, maybe some nightly stuff. I assume that you still continue to try to optimize. What's the most recent thing that you've tried?
The most recent thing that I've been able to really incorporate into my routine as a full-time thing that I swear by and can tell you guys about is a nighttime ritual. Really figuring out a way to shut off my brain at night has been huge for starting my day right. And one of the hacks that a lot of people probably haven't heard about, so this one might be fun for your audience, is a special herbal blend that I drink about an hour before bed. And it's really just a combination of herbal tea without caffeine. I have it. It's called Sleepy Time. It's a combination of some things, but the real gold here is apple cider vinegar and honey. The combination of those two things, and Tim Ferriss talks about this. This is talked about by several of these gurus. About an hour before bed, apple cider vinegar, honey, plus or minus your herbal tea of choice without caffeine, makes me super tired, super relaxed, super clear-headed. If I have that during and before my meditation session, that's it. I wake up, I don't even know what happened. Non-addictive. It's better than any drug or pharmaceutical or melatonin you could take. Granted, it does not work for everybody. Some people, their insomnia and their anxiety will overpower the honey and the apple cider vinegar. But for those of you who are looking for something small to add to your nighttime routine, it's awesome. There's a lot of health benefits to every ingredient in it, and it works for me.
So my two questions: doesn't honey have sugar, which will keep you up?
Sugar keeps babies up. As adults, I could probably chug pixie sticks before bed and not. Sugar is not a stimulant. Sugar exists as glucose in your body. If it's widely available, you can make energy. It doesn't bind to any receptors in your brain that say go energy. It's not caffeine. So, and the sugar in honey is natural. It's full of antioxidants. It's healthy for you.
Hmm.
If the sugar does keep you up and you're sensitive to sugar, obviously I wouldn't recommend that at night, but that's not the case for me.
And how much of each would you recommend?
Do about a tablespoon of honey and probably 3 or 4 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. But to be totally honest, I just kind of shoot the honey in there and pour the apple cider vinegar in there.
Thank you for your honesty.
Of course.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to try that out, because I've
Both
never
of you,
heard
yeah.
of that.
Give it a let me know if it works for you.
we looked. I mean, we've gone this far because we're open and we're trying new things, right? I feel like it's such a beautiful idea, like being open to new things. And I think people are so closed off in their old, ways that aren't working that they don't grow. I think I think it's almost I think that's cool in its own way, just being open. Like once you find like have your goals, have your values and everything, and then as long as it's within your values, and be open in that sense for the growth.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't act counter to your health and your goals, then I'm open to trying everything. And I do. If someone suggests something to me that's even a little bit weird, I'll usually give it a shot just to tell them I did and,
Me too.
live the new experiences. You too? Yeah, I think that's the only way you can live nowadays. There's so much out there, so much possibility and opportunity and things that you don't know. Like the more you learn in medicine, the more we realize how little that we know, how acupuncture works. I still have no idea why acupuncture works, but we know that it works. No idea why. I tried it.
Wow.
I went there. I did it. It's awesome. I wasn't treating any modality or illness that I have, but I passed out on the table with needles in my face. I woke up and I felt awesome. No idea why.
Wow. That's
Let me
crazy.
try that too. I've
Try
heard
that
of
too.
I challenged Kyle to say everything he loves about himself and just be positive. Is like no negativity and look in the mirror for 10 minutes before. Oh man, he's like, oh, I don't want to do it, but okay. How was that, Kyle? Was it awesome?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I'm always open to trying new things. And the way I see it is just like, this could be that thing that makes like this one little tiny thing could make like a huge drastic impact in my life. So I'm always willing to try just about anything, as long as that, like Jeremy said, lines up with your values and goals and isn't counterproductive.
Yeah,
Another
what you just said is so true. Little habit, one little ritual that you're able to put into your routine could make the biggest difference in your life. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. And it's hugely impactful.
one I'm gonna do recently is today's gonna be amazing. I say it over and over again. I don't know,
I love that.
for some reason it works. And then what do you have any others you've been kind of trying lately?
Let's see. So the other thing that this is a personal development or like mental health hack, but putting a journal in every single room of the house, just something that I can write on and write with in my bed, in my bathroom, on top of my toilet, in my desk, in the kitchen. I kid you not. You never know when an idea is going to pop into your head and how quickly that it flees. Journals are, $1 a piece. Pen is $1 a piece. I have them everywhere and they're all full. And at the end of the day, I'll go look what I wrote and see what happened. And a lot of times I'll remember it after you write it. If you put it down on paper, it's usually stuck in your head. But it's just, if you have an idea and you don't have anywhere to put it at the time, and that's really just like a waste of an idea and a waste of a thought, a waste of a goal or a direction. And they're not all to-dos. A lot of them are just like, why do I feel like this right now? It's this time. Like, what just happened? What did I do prior to this? And that's been super important for me and huge in making little changes and figuring out even like what triggers and what times trigger my good and my bad emotions, and just a lot of insight into myself.
Well, and I'd also want to piggyback on that. If you're writing down the ideas and actually honoring them, then your brain, in my opinion, is going to come up with them more. Because if you come up with amazing ideas, we never actually do them. You never actually, your brain's going to be like, all right, I'm not even going to try because he's not even honoring these ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't be more true. And same thing is to be said about like dreaming. Like if you wake up and remember your dreams and write them down, you'll continue to remember them. And that's something that I was actually doing for a while, and I stopped doing at some point, and something that I need to start doing again. So I'm glad we just brought that up.
Cool.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Dream journal.
Let me know how that goes. We'll have a powwow with accountability and support. Like, how's that going for you, Jay?
So you know what happened? I traded the dream journal for the pre-workout. That's what happened. Now it's gone. Now I wake up and chug the pre-workout instead of writing down my dreams.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I don't remember my dreams very much anymore because I don't write them down.
I'm telling you, as soon as you start writing them down, within like 2 weeks, you'll be like, okay, wow, I remember.
Oh, I'm gonna do that. So you never do it on your phone. You always write it down in pen and paper.
I sleep with my phone in a different room. I've found I sleep way better. I'm not distracted. I don't always think that it's going to go off. And even when it's on Do Not Disturb, just the fact that it's there, I know that it's accessible and there's probably people trying to reach me, will distract the crap out of me. So if it's in my bathroom, it's gone. I don't have to worry about it.
Wow. Kyle's done that before. I don't know. Do you still do that, Kyle?
I keep my phone in a separate room.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of that a lot, and I've always thought about
I
doing it.
swear you talked about doing it.
No, I've never done it just because I need something to wake me up, and I just need to buy an alarm clock or something.
Hold on, Jay. How do you wake up then?
Every single person in that can access one of these things needs to get an Alexa in their room, and they need their Alexa to be attached to a light in their room. When I wake up, my Alexa will turn my light on. It will go through a series of programmed things that I told it to say to me that I know are going to trigger me to wake up and take my pre-workout.
What?
And it's just a super smooth, clean way for me to wake up, and I know that it's going to get me up and get me doing what I need to do every single day.
Hold on. What does Alexa say
And
to you?
there you go, baby.
Echo Dot.
Echo
This
Dot.
is such a weird thing. I accidentally bought this. I didn't even mean to. I mean, I got
It's gonna
charged
change your
for it.
life, brother.
I was gonna take it back, but now I might keep it and buy one of those little adapters for dude. Oh, thank you for that, man. That is
That little thing is
just for
gonna
that tip.
change your life.
Jay Styles Live.
Oh man.
What does Alexa say to you, Jay?
A lot of it is calling me a little B word and telling me to drink my pre-workout and that I'm a failure. Things that are going to trigger me, that get me upset, that I'm like, okay, I can't fail myself this morning. I got to do it. That's kind of interesting.
You can actually train your Alexa to say different things to you.
Yep, you can type it in and she'll say everything that you want.
Whoa.
And she also, at night, because I keep my phone in my bathroom and I like to listen to my Calm app and my Headspace before I go to bed, Alexa has an app that connects with Headspace. We can say, Alexa, play Headspace. And she'll turn on a meditation for you without your phone even being in the room.
This is amazing. My mind is blown.
Yeah.
It took me years to get this type of routine down. You're welcome.
So I want to make $160,000 a year. I want an Alexa in my room, and not be on my phone. Not have my phone in my room. Can I make it happen, Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, step one is the personal development. Start figuring out how to have an awesome day every day, which is really the goal of personal development. Live in a really prime, high energy state. You can figure out how to do that and then direct that to a financial or business goal. There's no way you won't be successful.
Oh man, I'm in. Where do I sign up, Jay? I want in. Let me in. Hold on, you hear me? You hear that? I'm knocking.
Yeah.
Let me in. So this is a question I want to ask. We ask this of all our guests. If you had one message for the world, what would that message be?
My one message for the world, and this is, the lesson that you've learned, that I've learned, that really resonates with our generation, is that the goals and the values of our parents and our grandparents are not the values of our generation. I think there's so much opportunity for people out there that they don't even realize that it's so for the taking, and you don't need to be highly trained. You don't need to go to school for a million years. You don't need to make $1 million a year. If you can create freedom over your time by doing exactly what we just talked about, personal development, and building some kind of business that revolves around something that you like, where you can even make $70,000 or $80,000 a year on your own terms, tax-free, because that's what you get as a business owner. You're going to be so much happier than working 9 to 5 for the rest of your life, making $200,000. And I know I probably sound like a broken record, like all those other gurus, but that's really the biggest message. I stopped being a doctor, one of the most sought after jobs in the world, because I wasn't happy. I realized I wasn't happy. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I was a 70-year-old man going into the clinic or the hospital at 8 a.m. every morning and having to deal with crap load of paperwork and crap load of other stuff that I really didn't want to deal with. And you can do it, and anyone can do it. If you follow the simple steps, you do the personal development, you give up the fun stuff that you probably see your friends doing on Instagram, the partying. You do that for just a little while, and you're going to see your life turn upside down overnight in a good way.
Beautiful. And if people are trying to find you on on social media, where can they find you?
So the best place is Instagram. That's the platform I'm most active. You can find me at Dr. J Feldman. That's DrJayFeldman. From there, you can connect with me everywhere. And if you send me a DM and say that you saw me on this show, I promise you I'm going to answer it. I promise you I'm going to give you all of the advice or tips or whatever it is that you need. But you have to say that you found me on Social Ninjas, or else it might go into archives.
That's so cool you do that. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Definitely give the Social Ninjas podcast. I hear they're amazing. 29 star out of 5. And we'll see you all next week.
Okay. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me on the show.